Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Tokusatsu Now, the podcast designed to not only onboard new fans into the amazing world of Tokusatsu, but for longtime fans of the genre to do a deep dive, get caught up with the current state of the fandom. My name is Tom Caswell, and I am joined this week by my illustrious co-host, Mike Williams. Mike, how are you doing today?
Hello. I'm doing very well today.
Good. We're recording this. Yeah, we're recording this on January 4th. I know last time we chatted was about a month ago at this point, and then the holidays hit. It's been tough to kind of get everyone together. I know I promised Asa would be on this episode. Neither Eric or Asa could make it this week. Hopefully next time we can get together. But basically this week, what we're going to talk about is kind of catch up. The main kind of juice of this episode will be catching up on Zeztz. We're about if you can believe it, Mike, we're just under a third of the way through the show, which seems kind of crazy when you explain it like that, because we're all like, say they do 50, right? What, like episode 17, episode 18 is kind of like where, and we just did 16. So we're about a third of the way through the show now, which seems wild to think about. But before we jump into all of that, how were your holidays? How was your Christmas, New Year? Get anything Toku related for Christmas?
I did not, mostly because I buy all of my Toku related things myself. So
Right.
The perils of adulthood are, when you have the money, you just buy it yourself, and then your family is like, don't buy anything ahead of Christmas.
Yeah. Fortunately this year, because we've we just moved into this house, and it's off my first year being hitched. It was just very easy to say, like, there's nothing I need, but we need new pots and pans. Can you just get us pots and pans? That'd be great. So that's what I ended up getting. The most adult Christmas I think I've ever had. Pots and pans, tons of socks.
Air fryer.
Yeah, well, that was what we got my parents last year. Unfortunately, they've gotten a lot of use out of that one. But yeah, cool, man. So New Year, we in our previous episode we kind of went over all of the new stuff that you can expect this year. We did a deep dive on Project Red and Super Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity. We've also since had a trailer for that show, which kind of, I think the biggest thing the trailer kind of showed off was all of the robos that we can expect, which seem to be these kind of like big, heavy machinery, like almost like construction. They look a bit like, did you play Death Stranding 2?
Yes.
They look a bit like the DHV Magellan, I feel.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm trying to figure out, like, so the way they're not transformation items, it's their guns.
Mm-hmm.
I think the robos are the guns.
I mean,
or like attachments that go onto the guns.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure.
Yeah, there's still so much we don't know. I think we got this trailer, I think, on Christmas Day. Is that right?
Somewhere near there, and that gave us official names. Gavan Infinity is the red. The blue/silver one is Gavan Bushido, and then the golden one is Gavan Luminous. And they are all from different realities. Like, we got a briefish synopsis, no names or anything, but it's supposed to be a multiversal thing. So I would not be surprised if there are at least 2 more Gavans waiting in the wings, thus essentially being a Sentai, even if they are not a Sentai.
Yeah. So yeah, we don't have. The other interesting thing, though, is we have this kind of tagline of who is the true hero, right? Like, who is the true Gavan? So, and we have and also I didn't realize this, but there are alternate versions of the poster where we have Infinity as it's got all of the mechs, right? All of their flying ships in the background. And then Infinity on the, like, kind of standing under them, and then it has the exact same posters, but then you have Bushido and which one is what's the name of the third one?
Luminous.
Luminous. You have them taking over that slot. So I imagine there will almost be, in a similar way to where we've actually had recent Sentai teams be kind of contentious. I think back to King Oja and Gozuja.
Dawn Brothers. Yeah.
Don Brothers, there was a competitive nature to it. I think we're going to see that come through of they're kind of a team. They're going to be fighting against, monsters of the week and stuff, but they're also in competition with one another in some way.
Are doing their own thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so which I like. I think it's interesting. Obviously, we get a lot of that in Kamen Rider as well, which has been a big focus of the last couple of episodes. So yeah, the more and more I see of the show, the more I get excited for it to debut. We still don't have confirmation. We do have a release date, February 15th, so we're a little under a month away from the show coming out. The fact that we usually they have like a press conference like ahead of time, right?
They announced the press conference, I believe, for late January, so late this month. They will have a press conference and give us, the cast. Like we don't have any names for the alter egos or even any idea of what
casting at all.
What the alter egos. We've seen some leaked set photos of Infinity, but not really the rest of them. Which is surprising. So we've seen just Infinity. We've seen what's in the trailer, which shows off the action of all three of them. But we don't know anything about cast. We don't know anything really in depth about the synopsis.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to go back to leaning into using like the fact that we haven't seen any like humans, any of the cast. Maybe they're shooting stuff on the volume, like they did for King Oja. They do say that it will be using cutting edge visual expression and production techniques. So
I wouldn't be surprised because they're doing a bit of that in Zeztz. Well, I think it's using the LED wall, the volume. The little orrery butterfly garden in Zeztz.
Yes, which we'll get to in a bit, but definitely I think some of the background stuff that Zeztz is using, I think it's improved from when they first started using it for King Oja. I think they realized that they needed to kind of have this integration of like an actual physical set and using the volume sparingly rather than having it be and it's technically not the volume because it's like this Sony, it's the same kind of technology. I think the volume is a proprietary name, but it's the same kind of idea where it's instead of a green screen, you have an LED wall that has a very high resolution image put on it. And they first did that with King Oja, and I would say it was used to kind of a mixed bag effect. I was not a fan of how that show looked most of the time. I liked the design and like a lot of the concepts of the worlds, and I think it worked in some of the different countries that they were, because that show, for people that aren't aware, was the Sentai from a couple of years back. They were all kings and they all had their different domains, and I think it worked in some places better than others. And I think that they've improved utilizing that technology across the various shows over the years, by using it a bit more sparingly rather than it being kind of like, this is the world, right? This is the whole thing. Hopefully, and again, I'm with you, right? The physicality of all of this, the tangibility of all of these shows is a huge reason why I enjoy Tokusatsu. And so I like seeing them in the real world doing real things with real people.
And I think some of the action scenes they showed kind of brought that up. Give me a sec.
Oh, in the trailer for this show.
Yeah, sorry, my
Yeah, it
screen went off
looks.
there.
Yeah, it definitely.
Like
From watching the trailer,
the
looked very physical.
yeah, like Bushido's section was definitely in the warehouse, which is one of the main
Classic.
warehouses that they do a lot of major action scenes. Which was funny on Reddit. Someone was talking. It's like, why don't they use some of the more? They pointed. I guess they were watching Ryuki or something, and they were like, why don't they use some more dynamic locations and scenes? And I'm like, they have to make an episode every week
Hmm.
for for
Forever.
it, like the show doesn't stop. So
Yeah.
like the locations they have the permits ready. They know exactly how to shoot them. They know where to put the special effects. They
Hmm.
know what they can pull off in those locations very quickly. Like, so as soon as I saw Bushido in the warehouse, I was like, oh, okay. Well, like we don't have to worry that the physicality won't be there. Also, they were doing some moves there. Luminous came out doing
Some flips.
some flips. I was like, okay,
Yeah, I would say though for the trailer, the footage very much looks like shot for the trailer rather than like something
yep,
pulled from an episode. But hopefully that does give us the indication that no, we are going to be. I've got no problem if they use the same warehouse, like as long as you're coming up with interesting new choreography. These locations are iconic to me now. They are a part of the tapestry. This is just where these fight scenes take place. Um, and so yeah, so Gavan coming February again. I was about to bring it up, but earlier, but we still haven't had confirmation that this will be streaming outside of, uh, uh, or at least will have the same reach as Zets. I'm currently looking at confirmation that it will be streaming or at least available in Indonesia, which that has been the case with
yeah,
Tokusatsu long before Zetz's kind of more um, global push. You've got to imagine though that is part of the announcement, considering that a huge reason why this show seemingly exists and Super Sentai is ending is because they can push it internationally. But we just don't have confirmation yet, which is bizarre considering that with Zets, they announced it from like the jump, right?
yeah.
That it was like, here's Zets, this is your first look, and with the poster, and we're announcing that.
I am wondering if perhaps they're going to try to get it more aligned. So when the press conference happens,
Hmm.
like um like we got the Zets press conference, I think like a week later on Shout or something like that. Like they
Hmm.
actually subbed it and showed it to us. So I'm wondering if they're trying to get all their ducks in a line. Like, so when the press conference happens, they'll be like, everyone gets to see it.
Hmm.
See the
Yeah.
press conference. We'll translate it for you roughly or something, or even like a day later. And we'll also announce that it's probably going to be Shout again. It's probably going to end up on Tokusatsu if we had to guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense. I think Tokusatsu, Shout Factory wants to make them themselves, even though there are a couple of brands kind of competing for that title. I think, I mean, obviously they're locked in for the rest of Zets. Whether Toei has been happy with how Zets has been rolled out through Shout is anybody's guess. I don't know what they expected uh, for the success of the show uh, through Shout internationally. Yeah, but I got to imagine that they would also partner with them on Gavan Infinity. Although at the same time, as we've already pointed out and we've seen consistently through the Zet streams, is that they're kind of still figuring all of this out. so
Yep.
I so there's still a huge chance that It isn't Shout, or there's still, I think, even a chance that it won't be a simulcast thing. Maybe it's on a delay. Maybe it's not happening at all. We just don't know. Hopefully that's not the case. But I do agree that I think the reason that we don't have that information is because they probably thought we can make this a bigger splash. They're trying to make this a really big deal. And so saving that information for the press conference, maybe making it available, the press conference available simultaneously for all audiences, no matter where they are in the world. Maybe they're clearly holding a lot back. We don't know, like you said, we don't know anything really about the story, the cast, what the villains are. What the villains are. All of these things are still a mystery, and so maybe they're like, we do one big event. We do the press conference. It's big. Ton of stuff gets announced there. So yeah, exciting. Before we get in a few weeks to Super Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity, we are wrapping up Gozyuja, which has obviously had a rocky, shaky final run here with obviously the actor for Goju Black, Goju Unicorn, being replaced at the last minute. But we do have a really kind of touching and fun development in the show, which just had its 44th episode, and that is the inclusion of Origa Red. Now, this was about a year ago or so. Let's see if I can get there's a trivia section here. I think there was a year or so ago, they basically put out a fan competition and were like, design your own Red Ranger, and it'll be in Gojuja. And so there were a bunch of designs that were submitted. Toei even shared a lot of them online, so you can actually go see like what the runners up, I guess, were, or what some of their favorite designs were. But as it says here on Fandom's Power Rangers wiki, of all places, Origa Red is an original design created by a 10-year-old boy named Luca, who was selected as the winner of the "We're looking for your ideas for the Super Sentai Reds contest." When does it say this launched? So it closed on April of last year is when the contest ended. And then the design was revealed on May. And then, yes, it happened just this past weekend, being brought to life. And it says, Toei stated that Lucas' design won because the origami motif fit their criteria of being very color-codedable, which matches Sentai's color-coded nature. Lucas' notebook also includes designs for Origa Red's mecha, transformation process, and the other Origa Rangers. Additionally, Luca was invited to witness Origa Red's filming for episode 44. So, yeah, it is just delightful to see this 10-year-old drawing then brought to life in, I think, an actually pretty badass looking suit. I think this thing looks pretty cool. I don't necessarily know about like so for people, you should go look up the images of what not only comparing the 10-year-old's drawings to the final suit, but just to look at the final suit as is. It's a red suit. It's got a white stripe up the middle, again, classic Sentai design, kind of with the color on the outside and then like a big thick strip of white in the middle. Then it's got shoulder pads, and then the cool thing is yes, it has this red origami crane helmet, which I think looks fantastic, and you can obviously imagine a whole team of origami based, rangers, which is also interesting because Shinkenja, their mecha designs were origami, right? Or am I? Didn't they fold
Shinken, they folded, but they were actually the kanji. They were like little kanji symbols that unfolded into their little animals.
Gotcha. You can tell though that like an origami design team would be pretty sick.
Yeah, yeah. It looks fantastic. My only issue is probably around the shoulders and
Mhm.
back, which are a little bit bigger, so they sort of flop around. Like you can tell. I mean, they did a good job on the suit, but you can tell maybe like if a full series suits are supposed to last the entire series. They're like, this is gonna
We're getting
last.
one episode out of it.
Yeah, yeah. Like you can tell the suit is good looking, but maybe like a half step short of a full production suit.
Mhm. Yeah.
But it looks great. It is definitely like a uh, they give you a feel for the kind of attacks that you would see and whatnot. Um, Speaking of Shinkenger, it feels very Shinkenger in
Mhm.
the sort of intro for Riga Red, and just like the basic look, and he has an origami sword. It's very cool. Bringing kids. All at the end of the day, a lot of this is again meant to be for kids. So giving them a chance to bring their imaginations to life is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would say that my issue, because I think it's great that they really tried to make it like, no, we're not gonna stray far away from the original design. Like, we are gonna bring this design to life. Because yeah, personally, I could do without the shoulder pads and the wings on the back. Um, these like half wings. Um, but and then the other thing that I personally just think looks not great in the full version is having the side view. So the helmet with the origami crane facing forward is great. I think having the side profile view of the origami on the middle, on the chest plate, uh, I would have maybe just left that white or done something else. I think that's the thing that most still looks like a 10-year-old designed it. But other than that, kudos to you, Luca. Great job on this suit design. Congratulations. And what a fun little thing to include in the final asterisk season of Sentai. Yeah, Ariga Red,
At least for a while.
at least for a while.
We'll see. And does Origa Red count? We'll see.
Sure.
I'd love to maybe see if there's a Sentai team up movie, or a decade we do another full Sentai. Uh, bringing everyone back if Origa Red makes a return.
That would be really cool, and obviously something that we do see, right? We have these kind of franchise staple characters always showing up, like the very original. He's not a Red Ranger. He's a white right suit from the original Sentai season.
Oh,
What is
from Jack Q.
yeah?
Big one.
Big One. Yeah, I think that's the name. That character is showing up for every anniversary season. They always kind of bring some of these returning iconic heroes. Whether Ariga Red joins that pantheon, we'll see. And obviously, the show is going away for an undisclosed amount of time, so we probably won't see him again for a while. Although we do have that Sentai movie. That's the other thing that got announced, right? The Super Sentai cross Gavan, cross Kamen Rider film, um, that's coming out this summer. Or was that AI?
I was about to say, I was like, I haven't heard of this. I mean, I'm not. I would not be surprised if they give Gavan a bit of shine in the movies.
Here,
Um,
Eric shared it in the chat. It's an post on X. Kamen Rider, Cross Super Sentai, Cross Space Seraph, Superhero Wars Infinity is scheduled to be released on Sunday, May 29th, 2026. And then I think this might be AI. I think Eric might have shared AI.
It's always hard to tell.
Let's check in.
I mean, the shot that's there is definitely, it looks to be a kit bashed
yes
Zeo, which I could see being a an actual thing. But yeah, it feels like AI.
I don't necessarily think it's AI. I just think this is a fan page, and they have yeah. I who knows what the actual origins. I'm looking at it, and I think this is a fan rider design, but like they've made a bunch of different things. Like there looks to be like a figure art that they've made. Yeah, interesting. I don't know what this is. Yeah, I think that in the year of misinformation, there's just like there's images of all these figure arts, but this must just be a kit. Maybe it's a kit bashed figure, and then they
yeah, they probably just kit bashed a figure and then painted it up and used the powers of the internet to put their OC with Gavan Infinity for the movie. But yes, I don't know if we've announced.
No, we haven't. We haven't. And I'm looking at the image, and Reddit is pointing out that the very corner of the image, you can see a Google Gemini logo. So this is AI. Eric, I don't know if I'm going to bring you back on the podcast, man. After sharing this, no, I'm just messing. But be careful out there, folks, and remember, Tokusatsu Now will always corroborate and confirm any information before stating it as fact.
I mean, this is how before they did the full announcement, I want to say like 3 or 4 days before, we got an image of a leaked like toy catalog for Gavan Infinity, and folks were like, "Oh, that's definitely AI." Like, it's real hard to tell.
It's hard to tell now. It's really hard to tell.
So unless it's from an official account, it's like, is it? But yeah, for like 3 or 4 days before like the stuff came out, and everyone was like, "Is this real? This might be AI." And then I think they released like the first poster, and it was like, "Oh, this is real."
No, it's real. Yeah, I mean, it was such a that period of time where we didn't know if Sentai was ending. We didn't know what they were replacing. I mean, the misinformation and the leaks and what was real, what was not, was very hard to tell.
Yep.
Okay, so that is the Space Sheriff Gavan and Super Sentai conversation over. Let's catch up with Zeztz. It's been a while since we've talked about the show really in depth. As I mentioned earlier, we are about a third of the way through the show, and there's been some interesting developments. We've also had a tease with a poster showing off kind of the next teasing the next chapter of the show. So to catch people up, if you haven't been watching week to week, Nox, the villain of the primary antagonist, I'll say, because he's obviously very much moving less from the villain of the mastermind villain to we now also have a new like head villain called the Lady with her butterfly garden, as you mentioned, who is kind of weaponizing Nox against the organization code. Nox, interestingly, the Nox Knight design is seemingly the design from Code, because now he's Kamen Rider Nox. He got a new driver rather than the Knight Invoker, and interestingly, it uses seemingly a different kind of capsum that actually splits down the middle. So his driver has two, instead of having the singular kind of half orb cut out to insert a capsum, it has two, and he puts his shadow capsum or whatever it is. I don't know if it's called a capsum. He puts that in one half, and then it splits open, and the other half fits in the second circle. But he also used his erase capsum from when he was Night Invoker as well in there, so he can use the normal, singular sphere
Yeah,
capsums
and
as well.
it's a full. They're still compatible. Someone showed um, that you can place the full shadow capsum in the original Zeztz
Oh,
driver.
so they both go back and forth. Gotcha.
Yeah, it doesn't spin, but it has a button on the back, so you can put it in there, and then you hit the button, and it'll work like a normal capsule. So
Interesting.
it does work in the Zest driver. But yes, the Nox Night form uh, seemed to be his agent form, uh, for all things considered. Because as you noted, the poster, well, before we get to the poster necessarily, we found out one, why Nox is much older than Baku. It was usually writers. Most of the main writers tend to be around the same age.
Mhm.
Whereas this, it's clear that Baku is one age and Nox is
Nox is clearly like
maybe
in his
like a
30s.
decade older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Um,
decade. Kinda.
um, it has been revealed that Baku at some point, uncovered
Studied
in
under
his memory,
him?
went to a special school
Yeah.
doing mind things, probably lucid dreaming. Um, and Knox, in his civilian identity, Kensei Odaka, I believe
Mhm.
is the
Mhm.
name, was his teacher. Um, and Knox also was, as in revealed, agent number 4. So Baku is code agent number 7. Of course, the James Bond reference there with the spy stuff.
Mhm.
But Knox was number 4. And the poster that you mentioned shows some of the other, not the actors behind those characters, but the other agents. Um, I believe one is missing,
Yes, one is
but it
missing,
has,
but I think it's 2, 3, and 5.
yes.
Let me pull it up. But yeah, please continue.
So it shows a bunch of the other agents, which are definitely taking off of the Nox Knight design.
Oh, 3, 5, and 6. So we don't have
Yeah.
1 or 2. And yes,
And
they look a lot like Nox Knight.
folks assume, since we're missing 1 and 2, that they will, is like, will that be a movie thing?
Mm.
Um, Zeztz himself is already an Ichigo homage, but 1 and 2 are missing. You gotta assume that they're going to reference Writers 1 and 2 in some
Mm.
fashion.
That makes
Uh,
sense.
but yes, so there is Zero, the code boss, who is kind of looking shady.
Oh, super
Um,
dude, super, and that is what I appreciate about these later episodes as well. Is we talked when Zets first launched, and we talked about it in the beginning. I believe it was Eric who brought up the idea of like it's interesting that he wants to be like a hero, but he's being a secret agent, which is decidedly different and decidedly like a lot more gray area. They aren't like a traditional hero type. Usually, like they're doing the will of the government. Usually like there is a nefarious, like, sure, if you want to save the damsel in distress, that's great, but like that's not really like the main purpose of a secret agent. And the show what I've really appreciated has leaned into that of like, obviously Code has clearly been mysterious from the beginning, but the fact that their motives, and we just left off of an episode where Baku was like, look, I will be your secret agent, but you have to tell me what is actually happening here. And so we're currently on episode 16, just aired. That's the first part of a two-parter. So hopefully next episode we'll get some of those answers. But the fact that they are leaning into the fact that, like, no, these organizations are not actually out for like saving people. They're out for different interests entirely. I really appreciate that.
Yes, and it's kind of unclear. So there's Nock's perspective as the former agent who has been burned, to use the terminology, by Code, and has gone to the other side. And then there's sort of Zero's um, for the greater good speeches. Like, he's like, I'm willing to do whatever I need to in order to complete the mission. The overall thrust of that mission still remains unclear. But in classic Kamen Rider fashion, Nox revealed, I want to say 1, 2, 3, like maybe 3 episodes ago, as expected, the capsims are essentially condensed nightmares. So this is the standard Kamen Rider trope.
Mm-hmm.
The writer uses the power of the villains for good.
Mm-hmm.
But it was interesting to see a nightmare released from a capsum. It was, I believe, the barrier one was the one that was opened, and it was just like a dark, colorless Zeztz fighting against Baku.
Yeah, and obviously, so Nox as well, he was seemingly trapped in his dreams, right? Like
Yep.
we kind of got to look at his final mission as an agent. They burned him because he had failed his mission, and then he got trapped by the nightmare, um, the shadow nightmare.
And the flashy clothes are just dream knocks.
You're right.
There is a normal Odaka-san that is just a guy without the white stripe in his hair and the outfit and everything.
Yeah, and he's been asleep in this house, and like he's been hooked up to an IV. I'm assuming the lady set that up, like had him, like, again, we kind of don't know. He he got trapped in his nightmare. He's been trapped the whole time. I guess he has basically, again, it's been unclear as to why he's been partnering with the nightmares, but I assume it's to try and get a way out. And I did appreciate and I did love the fact that, like, Zero gave Baku, the eliminate the enemy, right, with Nox,
Yeah.
and Baku decided to interpret that as like, if I take out the nightmare that he's stuck in, then that will eliminate, quote unquote, Nox as a player here. Obviously, it didn't quite work out that way, but he trying to help Nox out was very interesting. So Nox is, he's awake in the real world now, even though, and he seems to be in a sort of that butterfly kind of courtyard garden. Seems to be kind of like an inverse to the Code headquarters. The lady obviously being a facsimile of Zero, not the villain, but also like not because Zero himself is might be the villain, but obviously antagonistic. She might even be. I'm assuming there's a good chance that she is one of the other former agents as well.
I'm assuming she's probably going to be related to Nim. So also, since the last time we talked about Zeztz, we've gleaned some stuff about Nim. her body is similar to Nox's somewhere else. The Nim in the real world has
She was in an accident.
disappeared. She was in an accident. They don't know where her body necessarily is,
Mm-hmm.
but it is shown that Nox at some point had access to wherever her sleeping form is, her real
Right.
body.
Although,
Um,
was that when we visited her? That must have also been in the dream.
I believe so, but I think that's like the reason I'm bringing that up. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's similar to um. Oh, sorry, the thing zoomed in.
That's so
It does that
funny.
sometimes. Um, I think that's similar to the space that Odaka visited,
Mm-hmm.
in the butterfly garden. So I believe probably real people can end up into the dream space as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's probably where like Nim is, but I would not be surprised if she is not related to the lady in some fashion,
Mm-hmm.
because Odaka believed that she was going to be important. Other way around. There we go.
If you're not
So
watching the video, Mike's camera decided to zoom in deeply on his
yeah.
face as he was making that point.
So I wouldn't be surprised if she's probably pretty big and related to the lady in some fashion. She They had an episode two-parter focusing on her sort of backstory and sort of her agents who took over sort of the mother and father spots,
Mm-hmm.
but were not
Actually,
actually
her
her
parents.
family.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking something probably Gates' like in that there's probably some family stuff going on. She is probably pretty important. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So currently we are also in a Nem related episode.
Yes.
She isn't the focus. We have one of the hospital staff being the current dreamer that feels guilt for basically she was Nem's nurse while she was in the hospital after the accident, and then at some point Nem was taken uh either by not well, I'm assuming the lady took her, but this nurse has guilt for being, I guess, the person who was staffed to look after her at that time and was taken. And so the whole kind of mission right now that Baku has is to find the missing, and there are multiple missing people in real life who have gone missing. This wolf, we've got Nem in a Red Riding outfit. The wolf nightmare is the villain, right? The monster of the week or fortnight, essentially, because it's over 2 episodes. That has her trapped in his stomach. Whether we get Nem breaking out next week, like into the real world, and maybe we get some confrontation between Nem being a prisoner of the lady and Nox. I just appreciate the fact that we are getting now. I guess we are a third into the show, so it makes sense. But the fact that we are now really into, I think, the meat of the story. Um, Also, of course, we got Zetz's upgraded form. I really do think that two-parter where we get the plasma gold form, which I think looks sick. I just think it looks awesome. Um, and it's Baku confronting his own demons, his own nightmares, because he gets trapped. He's unable to break out of his bad dream, and he decides to confront it, and he uses the lightning strike where he dreams about getting struck by lightning. He uses that, and he absorbs the lightning into the capsum that gives him the plasma ability to change into this form where he can not only move faster than the speed of sound, he also has the I love that shot where he has his new weapon, and he shoots off an arrow, and he moves with the arrow and attacks that way. I thought that was really cool, and I really, really like that design. My hot take is that I think the Nox Knight design looks way better than Nox's Kamen Rider design, with the overextended kind of pointy visor that he has. I think that the kind of color scheme, the silver, red, and gold of Nox Knight, and I even think the Knight Invoker, I much prefer that to his new driver and the kind of blue and white, this electric, really vivid electric blue color. Um, yeah, I actually prefer the Nox Knight design to his
I
Kamen Rider
think they
form.
probably felt it was maybe a bit too close, but then they ended up. I mean, essentially, as you point out the poster, and I'm sure you'll probably show it in the video for those not seeing. But the other agents are essentially just Nox Knight designs
Yes.
on different characters. So uh, maybe they thought it was a bit too close to basic Zets and Inazuma. Maybe they wanted some way to differentiate Kamen Rider Nox from the rest.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. I vaguely agree, but that's just because I don't like the two-tone colorway
Hmm.
for the way that they have put it together. I just don't think those colors work.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm fine with it, and I like his new driver, the flip thing. It's a little overdone, but I'm down with it. Using a completely different driver.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I'm just still so curious because I'm like, we get a line from Zero who literally like says like that's not code design, right? Like
yeah,
his driver, seemingly the lady has created it, and for him to now be a common writer, but that has nothing to do with code is interesting. There's just still so much that we're unsure about that we don't know. And yeah, looking at the also just quickly re-glancing at these the poster. Uh, so we have three who, in theory, would be the rider before Nox, and then we have 5 and 6 who would be the riders or knights or whatever um between
Nox and Baku.
Nox and Baku, with 6 being uh, uh, a woman, clearly,
Yeah,
from the poster. I doubt that that is the lady because I it wouldn't make sense. I think for them to be the number 6 right before Baku. You got to
no,
imagine
and
maybe they
she
were 1 or 2 or
looks,
something.
yeah, and she looks older than even Nox. So,
Oh, for
like,
sure.
if he's in his 30s, she's probably like mid to late 40s.
Yeah.
So, um,
And the
we'll
other, yeah. Sorry, keep going.
yeah, we'll see. It'd be interesting to see if perhaps she is one or two, or just maybe like a to go with the Bond references, a Q that broke ranks
Hmm.
for whatever reason. The fact that Knox is now a Kamen Rider usually means something.
Yes.
So we'll see
Yeah.
if that means he is on the side of good, even though he is working for a different semi-sinister figure.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to do the James Bond comparison, right? It's probably something like MI6 to Spectre, right? Like the
Yeah,
evil organization. Something else that I'm now remembering that Zero said, because anytime Zero fucking chimes in, I'm like, what? Like, I need to pay attention to what you're saying because you speak in riddles 50% of the time. But so not only does he mention that the new driver that Nox has is not by code design, he also keeps saying about Baku that he is the one and only agent. So you and that's the thing is like we have 3, 5, and 6 here, but at no point does Zero ever talk about the other agents. He only just revealed Nox being number 4. because it was coming to that point in the story where Baku was like, what is this Nox guy's deal? And yeah, so with Baku being the one and only agent, you've got to imagine that the other agents, either Code and Zero believes them to be dead, B, they're also working for the lady, or C, maybe they're trapped in their own dreams and they're going to get recruited. Like, there's just so much, so many questions that we've since had answered, but now I have so many more questions as well, which is typically how these seasons go until like the final few episodes where everything is revealed. But I am enjoying my time with it, for sure.
Yeah, and I will say one thing that interests me. So there was a brief theory wondering if the nightmares were soft references to past riders. So the bomb had Bill's color scheme. The gun nightmare, I think, had Double's color scheme. The crow, like ghost, one of them had like sabers, like two-tone black and red. The new wolf one definitely feels like a soft reference to Gav, our last rider. So I'm like when I first heard that, like they're not like hard references, but I was like, maybe that person's
and
right.
They also have the belts, right? Like, that's something that has been, and I think even, you speak about the Wolf Nightmare looking like Gav. I feel like even his belt looked like the
I mean,
device, like the gummy box or whatever.
Yeah, they all have the same little belt thing, but the wolf one's dead. Like by the time you get to the wolf, you're like, oh, okay, that does feel like Gav. So we'll see. I think they're maybe just having fun, but the wolf nightmare was the one where I was like, okay, maybe fans are always having theories. Most of them are probably not right. They probably don't think about this anywhere near as deep as we do.
No,
but
certainly not.
but this one was like, maybe, okay, maybe I see you.
Yeah, it could just be a fun throwback to to the past show and past seasons, especially with this being not a reboot, obviously, but the first kind of international show of like, okay, let's infuse even more of it with like the history of the show by having the monsters just be references that don't actually have like a theory behind it or like actual story consequences. It's simply just like a throwback to those designs.
And for all of our motorcycle people, we got another bike scene.
We did.
It's the exact same road, so this is probably the only road that they can ride on.
Yeah. The one road in Japan that they can ride their motorcycles. These tricked out, but also at the same time like very minimally tricked out motorcycles. I thought we were going to get a bit when he threw down the barrier. I thought we were going to get like a Beyond Thunderdome bit where they're driving around the inside of the barrier.
Oh, driving, yeah.
We didn't get anything as epic as that, unfortunately. But hey, I will take any motorcycle live action shots for as minimal and as limited as they are. In my opinion, it's called Kamen Rider.
Yep.
Have a motorcycle in it, for God's sake.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh,
it was brief, but it happened.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying it's brief, but it happened, so it's there.
And the other thing I was going to bring up that I do really enjoy as well is his sister has now been kind of brought into the fold as well. It was getting harder and harder, I think, to hide the fact that his cupboard opens up, into Code headquarters. And
so I didn't miss anything, right? She just like he got knocked out.
Yeah.
Due to and she just goes into the closet, just
Well,
like
because I think in a previous episode, she catches him coming out of the closet. And she's like, "What are you doing in there?" And
right.
he's
But
like,
but there was
"Nothing."
no
No. Yeah.
but there was no like moment where they established that she knew. Like
No.
basically he was just knocked out and then she's like, I'm going in the closet to
Well,
figure out.
he obviously he's been acting weird.
Yeah.
He was doing something in the closet. He then put up signs on the closet that are like, "Stay out, do not go in here." And then she can't wake him up.
Yeah.
And so she's like, "Okay, maybe it has something to do with all the weird shit he's been doing in his closet." And then she goes in.
But
I felt like the logic for how she discovers it and why she discovers it was sound,
yeah,
considering
it
how
was real
weird
quick
everything's been.
and there wasn't as like my thing was like so they didn't show her like really learning about it, and as soon as she comes in like there's no like wonder, it's just immediately like, hey, what did you do to my brother? So the most recent episode seems to point towards she did know about it, but when she finally confronted Zero, it felt like she already knew
Interesting. I didn't get that read
something.
from it.
Yeah, because like she goes in and she confronts Zero like immediately. Like, what did you do?
Oh well, but that I think was episodes after. You're
Yeah,
talking about the most recent episode, right, where she slaps him.
you like right before that. Like she slaps him in the one episode, but she comes into the thing like the episode before, like towards
Right.
the end there.
Right. Yeah. So she'd already had an interaction with. She had already by the time she confronts him, she had already had an interaction, and maybe where you're
Oh,
getting
you're right.
lost.
She did.
Maybe where you're getting lost is we don't see the conversation happen, but in between those things, like it's been heavily implied that Zero explained the whole deal. So she didn't know about any of that existing before entering the closet, but by the time that she had that confrontation moment that you're referring to, she
Yep.
had learned through Zero that he was an agent and all of this stuff.
But now everyone's in the closet.
Everyone's in the closet. We've
The
got the paranormal
the
affairs.
cops have come back.
Yeah, they're back.
There was some strife there because the older cop dude is a big fan of Odaka, and could not bear to see Baku.
Well, he used to
Uh,
work for him in the
yeah, he
paranormal
worked
affairs
for him. Yeah,
division. Yeah, he was his
um,
like partner.
yeah. They were friends, and so he could not bear to see Baku talk crap about him.
Yes. He didn't want to
Baku's like,
believe Tetsuya Fujimi is his name.
so they broke up for a little while, but they're back now. So it's now um the two cops and the sister
Yeah.
and Baku. Everyone's in the closet.
Because they were everyone Kamen Rider Zeztz, everyone's in the closet. Yeah, so Tetsuya Nasuka, Tetsuya was like, "We're done. I'm like, I should never have tried to rope you into this." And but then he comes to realize that the only reason Odaka is awake, because they also find him in the real world briefly before he
Yep.
escapes. They when they see Baku again, they realize like, oh, the only reason he's awake is because you kind of snapped him out of his dream. So yeah,
Yep.
they're all best friends. Minami, his sister, is in on it too. And then maybe Nem will also get in the closet. How many more characters can fit in this closet? I guess we'll have to find out.
I mean, it is a one room. We can we'll probably invite Knox in because
He's a writer now.
he's a writer and he was always in the opening with the rest of the crew. And if you actually look at the opening for this episode, that one shot where everyone is on the Ultraman-esque building set,
Mm-hmm.
he is now not Knox. He is
Odaka.
Odaka.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. yeah, excited now to see where we go with this story. Very much enjoying the show. I think also just in general, the writing has been pretty good in terms of like not the mystery, but like Baku as a character growing and like confronting like he's like, all I ever wanted to do was be a secret agent, and now I'm like realizing what that actually means, and like wrestling with all of that, having his sister being involved and like being supportive but also at the same time being very concerned. Baku's relationship with Tetsuya and the paranormal affairs division, his confrontational relationship with Zero. Like Zero is such I think a compelling character in terms of I just never know what he's up to and how he's going to try and emotionally manipulate Baku, right? Because I think that's something as well, as like he's preying on Baku's dreams, and like by dreams I mean not actual dreams, I mean like his aspirations, and emotionally manipulating him into getting the job done. Something else that happens in the Bond films and secret agent stories.
And it's a good point that his first major power up is based on his specific nightmare.
Yeah.
Which he was struck by lightning.
Yeah.
As a child.
And I love that. I love that where because he's obviously wrestling with the Capsums and supposedly them being the source of the bad dreams. And he's like, I want to escape my bad dream, and I will use the power of bad dreams to achieve that if I have to. And then he does the lightning thing. I was like, oh, that's
so we'll see. One of the other disasters young Baku ran into was apparently a meteorite of some sort. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, we already had kind of a reference to that with one of those episodes there with like the meteor coming down.
The space kid nightmare. Yep.
And how he unlocks all of that, and that's how he ends up he uses a black hole to get rid of the meteor and gets sucked in, and that's how he gets kind of locked in his dream. Yeah. Anyway, show's great. Gonna continue to rock and roll through the rest of the year with Gavan filling in for the partner slot very, very soon. So big things happening in the world of Tokusatsu. Mike, thank you for joining me today to catch up on Zeztz. Feeling refreshed. Feel like I know as much as I can. That's always the stress of the show, is like, am I missing something? Like, is it meant to be this obfuscated as to what is happening? Or am I just not interpreting things correctly? But glad to know we're on the same page. Where can people find you online? I know you're going to tell me that it's MH Williams, but yeah.
mhwilliams.bluesky.social. I still haven't changed it. I will change it to something one day. I say this on every podcast I'm on. This one and 3 moves ahead. Like, I'll change it to something more interesting and unique one day, but that day has not yet happened.
I like MH Williams. I'm a fan. You can find me on a similarly uninteresting handle, Tom Caswell Games, or TomCaswell.games, depending on the site, whether it allows me to use a dot or not. And we will be back again, hopefully in the next couple of weeks with some more updates. Maybe around that Gavan press conference, we'll get a ton of new information. Hopefully we'll learn that it's coming to the US and we can actually watch it legally without sailing the 7 seas. Hope everyone else is enjoying their new year and had a great holiday break. And yeah, we will catch you next time.